Happy you're here. Marie Curie was the first woman to win a Nobel Prize, the first person and the only woman to win the Nobel Prize twice.
There is a new movie out about her groundbreaking research, and our movie guy got to sit down with the people who brought her to life.
We all thought that atoms were finite and stable. Well, some of them are not. I have called this radioactivity.
Read that you guys did a lot of chemistry classes and physics classes to really learn the science. How does that prep compare to maybe the other characters and movies that you've done as well?
Well, most films, they're trying to get you in shape physically, so it's quite refreshing. Your mind be taxed rather than your body. Most films that I've ever had a lot of prep has always been trying to change the shape of my body rather than the sort of the agility of my mind. So I really enjoyed that.
I've run the same test 6 times. I get identical results. My instinct is that there is another element that's skewing the results.
You think you found an undiscovered element?
If you're laughing at me, then I'm...
No, I'm not laughing at you. That's exciting.
I read a script that I found was magnificent, and then they sent me the book on which the script was based, and I realized that actually it was a graphic novel. And Lorraine Bernice made a magnificent work actually of putting together in parallel and woving it together the story of the life of Marie and Pierre Curie together with the life of radioactivity.
I want to protest in the strongest possible terms. It is a distinct lack of respect.
I love when filmmakers connect their movies to current day themes and values, and we see that Marie was really shamed for being an immigrant. Was that something that really drew you to the script, or did that kind of come later on to point that out?
But it's always when you make a film, you have to find some kind of echo in yourself, no matter what the subject of this film is. Even if you talk about dinosaurs, you have to find some echo in your own person. And yeah, these were things that I could relate to, because you can imagine that she and I will have that in common, that we came to Paris in our early 20s just because we were not able to do what we wanted to do in our own country.
I think that kids and teens use Marie Curie as a really good, role model for learning about science. What do you want them to take away from this kind of movie?
Well, I'd like them to think science is sexy again. I'd like them to think that science, is the sort of natural path for anybody who's got curiosity. And I think that's all it takes is the wanting to know things, which is inbuilt in children.
Joining us now via Skype from Paul's trip to the movies. There he is, Paul McGuire Grimes. Hi, Paul. All right, tell us what you think of Radioactive.
I really enjoyed it. I think it's a very educational movie. I didn't know a lot about Marie Curie, so I really learned a lot. And I like that it's part their love story with her falling in love with Pierre, and part, learning all about their science and their foundings of radioactivity and how that would go on to shape cancer breakthroughs, and Chernobyl and Hiroshima, and the good and the bad would come with such powerful science. And that reminder of why we should be listening to scientists. And she was so groundbreaking. This is the late 1800s, and she's one of the most noted, most famous scientists of all time. And she's such an inspiration to so many people.
Did you feel like you got the complete story? Because sometimes if they're trying to delve into the personal and the professional, you can kind of feel like you were a little bit lacking in one end.
I didn't feel lacking. Sure, there's a lot going on, and it covers a lot of territory, but I think there's a lot to her story. And then you see how her daughter would follow in her footsteps. And Rosamund Pike is such a great actress that she's the force. She's, she wants to be heard and be taken seriously. And then there's that, vulnerable facade to her as well. And then there's themes of immigration and scientists and why we should be listening to them. And, you can connect a lot to what's going on today.
Paul, let's move now to a movie that is available on Netflix. It's called The Old Guard. It stars Charlize Theron. I must say, one of the things that I realize I really like about these Netflix movies is, Paul, we don't see any commercials for them. They just suddenly appear one day on Netflix out of nowhere. And I don't know if it means, the studios didn't want them, or Netflix just did a deal and they don't advertise on television. So kaboom, there it is. The Old Guard fits the bill. What did you think?
I think this movie is fantastic. So the premise behind this is that Charlize Theron leads this group of immortal mercenaries who protect this young Marine, played by Kiki Lane. And it's adapted from a graphic novel. So you're thinking, it sounds kind of weird. I don't do graphic novels. Let me tell you, this is not like other action films. It's really about diversity and inclusion. And when you have an action movie with 2 female stars and a gay couple as part of this group, they're really doing a lot of different things and really puts the characters first. over a bunch of mindless action sequences. I mean, you get the action and you get the characters and a really good emotional core to the film as well.
And you think this is going to end up being a franchise? You think they're going to add a few more to this?
I think so. I mean, it is trending right now on Netflix. It's doing really well, and it sets up like that kind of superhero feeling. And if you like the Terminator movies or X-Men, there's a lot more that we can do with these characters. And you've got, you know, a female filmmaker of color in both of these movies. So I think we need to get these movies trending so we can hear more from these voices and these filmmakers, because it's so important. And her name is Gina Prince Bythewood, and she's a fantastic filmmaker.
Oh, that's really good.
Paul, what are you going to do if you can't get into a movie theater for the rest of the year to see a big, new, shiny movie?
I'm gonna cry, and I've had those tears already. So, like, way to bring up a sore
Sorry,
subject.
I shouldn't have ended it that way, Paul. You are.
But, you know, we are adapting. We're finding really great stuff on Netflix and Hulu. So I think that there's good content, and then we'll just have to be patient for the next Christopher Nolan movie to theaters.
It's time to catch up on the classics.
But it's
too,
okay to
Paul.
grieve. It's okay to grieve the loss
Thank
of
you,
what you
Paul.
love. And Steve, honestly, he's.
He did
Thanks,
great.
Paul.
Good job, Paul. Visit
Okay.
Paul's website. It's called Paul's Trip to the Movies, and it's largely a positive place. Updates there on movies and streaming services as well.
You can also listen to Paul on the Colleen and Bradley Show on My Talk 107.1 every Friday. You can watch him on his YouTube channel. It's also called Paul's Trip to the Movies. All right, TCL's Movie Trip is brought to you by Muska Lighting. Their showrooms in Roseville and Eden Prairie are open now. They're cleaning. They ask that visitors wear a mask as well. And right now, they have special packages to choose from that will coordinate your lighting between your dining room, your fancy foyer, and your island, all for one price. You can find those at muskalighting.com.
A little more Twin Cities Live coming up right after this. Stay there.
Thanks to Muska Lighting for sponsoring TCL's Movie Trip. Replace old and dated fixtures with a new light and change the look and feel of your home. Our mudroom fixture from Muska Lighting is a total showstopper. We get compliments from everyone who walks through the door. Talk to the experts at Muska Lighting in Roseville and Eden Prairie for help finding the perfect light for you.